We're going to practice 4 fraction questions that students should know by the end of grade 8. I understand that math can be challenging to tackle alone. This channel is here to support and assist you or your child in learning math. What you'll need: a pencil, download our video worksheet, link in the comments, or use your own piece of paper, and time to use your brain, so no calculators are allowed. Well, for some of the questions, you might need to use it. Here's a look at 4 fraction questions that we're going to solve. Feel free to pause and solve the question on your own first, or watch Ms. John guide you through the solutions. Feel free to use the timestamp below to go directly to the answer key. Question number 1, we're going to solve 5/9 minus 2/6. Let's first go through the steps of subtracting unlike fractions. Step number 1, we're going to find the LCM. Step number 2, we're going to use the knowledge of the LCM to make the denominators the same. Step number 3, we're going to rewrite the number in the converted fraction to the answer section. Step number 4, we're going to subtract the top numbers together. Step number 5, if necessary, we're going to simplify. So let's first do step number 1, find the LCM. So we're going to find the LCM of 6 and 9. So remember, LCM is the lowest common multiple. So that means we need to determine the common multiples that each of these numbers have. So think of the multiplication table. So let's go through the multiples of 6. We're going to do 6 times 1, which equals 6. 6 times 2, which equals 12, 6 times 3, which equals 18, 6 times 4, which equals 24, 6 times 5, which equals 30, 6 times 6, which equals 36, 6 times 7, which equals 42, 6 times 8, which equals 48, and 6 times 9, which equals 54. A lot of people ask, how do you know when to stop? What I like to say is you want to stop at least of the other numbers. So we know that the next denominator is 9. So you want to go all the way to at least 9, because there's always going to be a common multiple, which is going to be the denominators times itself. So 6 times 9 will always make a common multiple, but the goal is to see, is there any multiple that is lower than that? And maybe in this case, there might be. So let's do the multiple of 9. So we're going to do 9 times 1, which is 9, 9 times 2, which equals 18, 9 times 3, which equals 27, 9 times 4, which equals 36, 9 times 5, which equals 45, and of course, 9 times 6, which equals 54. What are the common multiples? So in this case, there are 2 common multiples, which are 18 and 54. So now we got to say, but what is the lowest common multiple between the 2 numbers? And that is 18. So we're going to make sure the denominators equal to the LCM, which is 18. So let's begin. So now we're going to do step number 2, which is, of course, using the knowledge of the LCM, which we know is 18, to make the denominators the same, making it 18. So let's first start with the first fraction. So we're going to do 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is going to get us to be 18. And then whatever we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. So it's first 9 times 2 equals 18. So we're going to move that over. And then 5 times 2 equals 10. So we're going to move that over to the new and converted fraction. Now let's convert the second fraction. So we're going to do 8 times what equals 18. We know that it's 8 times 3. So you're going to multiply both the bottom and the top by 3. And so now we have 6 times 3 equals 18. And now we know 2 times 3 equals 6. So we're going to move that over to the new converted fraction. So now we're going to do step number 3. We're going to rewrite the bottom number in the converted fraction to the answer section. So that's going to be moving the 18 over to the answer section. Now step number 4, we're going to subtract the top numbers together. So let's draw a rough box, and in that rough box, we're going to do 10 minus 6. 10 minus 6 equals 4. So the numerator is 4. First, let's see if we reduce this fraction. So what we're going to do is find the GCF of 4 and 18. So the GCF of 4 is 1 times 4 equals 4. And we know 2 times 4 equals 4. So the factors are 1, 2, and 4. So remember, GCF is like what times what equals that number. So again, in this case, the GCF of 18, what times what equals 18? We know 1 times 18 equals 18. We know 2 times 9 equals 18. And we know 3 times 6 equals 18. So the factors 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18. What are the common factors? So the common factors are 1 and 2. And what is the greatest common factor? That would be 2. So now we know we could divide 4 and 18 evenly by 2. So step number 5, if necessary, simplify. GCF equals 2. Therefore, we're going to divide the top number and the bottom number of the fraction in the intersection. So we know we could divide 4 and 18 by 2. So 4 divided by 2 equals 2. 18 divided by 2 equals 9. So the answer is 2/9. Question number 2, we're going to convert mixed fraction and improper fractions. We'll be converting mixed fraction and improper fractions. So first, we're going to look at what is a mixed fraction and what is an improper fraction. A mixed fraction looks like this. What it has is the denominator, which in this case is 4, then the numerator in this case is 3. But a mixed fraction also has a whole number. Remember, a whole number is a number without a decimal, and in this case, it is the 2. So an improper fraction, on the other hand, which we'll be converting this mixed fraction into, the top number is going to be bigger than the bottom number. Or you could also say the bottom number is smaller than the top number. What are the steps in order to convert a mixed fraction into improper fraction? In this case, step number 1, rewrite the bottom number in the fraction to the intersection. Step number 2, multiply the bottom number with the whole number. Step number 3, add the answer in step number 2 with the top number in the fraction. Step number 4, place the answer to the top part of the fraction in the intersection. So let's begin. So again, we're going to convert mixed fraction to improper fraction. So step number 1, we're going to rewrite the bottom number in the fraction to the intersection. So we're going to move that 4. Now, step number 2, we're going to multiply the bottom number with the whole number. Let's draw a rough box. And in that rough box, we're going to write 4 times 2. 4 times 2 equals 8. And now we're going to do step number 3. We're going to add the answer in step number 2 with the top number in the fraction. So let's move that 8 down, and we're going to do 8 plus 3, and that equals 11. Now we're going to move that 11 as step number 4, place it on the top part of the fraction in the intersection. So the improper fraction is 11/4. Now what we're going to do is do the opposite. So now we're going to go convert from improper fraction to mixed fraction. So the steps in order to do that is step number 1, divide the top and the bottom number. The number before the decimal is a whole number in the mixed fraction. Step number 2, the whole number determines how many times you will subtract the bottom number and the top number. Keep in mind the denominator remains the same, which is 4. So let's do step number 1. We're going to draw a rough box, and in that rough box, we're going to write 11 divided by 4. 11 divided by 4 equals 2.75. So we have 2.75. So like it says, the number before the decimal is the whole number in the mixed fraction. So in this case, it will be the 2. So the 2 is the whole number. And remember, whole numbers cannot have decimals in them. So now we're going to do step number 2. The whole number determines how many times you'll subtract the bottom number from the top number. So in this case, we're going to subtract 4, which is the bottom number, by the top number, which is 11, 2 times. So let's draw that rough box. In that rough box, we're going to write 11 minus 4 minus 4, which equals 3. So remember, 4 and 4, we did that 2 times. We minus the bottom number 2 times from the top number because the mixed fraction said 2. It's not always that easy, but you know, if I did actually tutor you, I'll show you some other different ways. This is the easiest way to show you on a YouTube channel. So let's bring that 3 up to the top number in the intersection. This is your mixed fraction, and that's how you go from improper to mixed fraction, or mixed fraction to improper fraction and back to mixed fraction. Question number 3, we're going to solve 2/5 divided by 3/6. Steps to divide unlike fractions. Step number 1, flip the second fraction and change the operation sign from divide to multiply. Step number 2, multiply the top numbers together. Step number 3, multiply the bottom numbers together. Step number 4, if necessary, simplify. Step number 1, flip the second fraction and change the operation sign from divide to multiply. So what I did first is I wrote the first fraction because that just stays the same. And now what we're going to do is we're going to flip the second fraction. So we flipped it, so the 3 is on the bottom, the 6 on the top. And now we're going to also change that division sign to multiplication. So what we're going to do is multiply the top numbers together. So you're going to do 2 times 6. And then you're going to multiply the bottom numbers together. We're going to do 5 times 3. So we're going to draw a rough box, and in that rough box, we're going to write 2 times 6. 2 times 6 equals 12. So we're going to write that in the answer section of the fraction. Now we're going to draw a rough box to multiply the bottom number. In that rough box, we're going to write 5 times 3. 5 times 3 equals 15. Now let's see if we can reduce this fraction. So what we're going to do is find the GCF of 12 and 15. So remember, you're going to say what times what equals 12. So the GCF of 12 are 1 times 12, which equals 12, 2 times 6, which equals 12, 3 times 4, which equals 12. And the factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Now let's find the GCF of 15. So the GCF of 15 is 1 times 15 equals 15, 3 times 5 equals 15, and the factors are 1, 3, 5, and 15. So what are the common factors? The common factors are 1 and 3. What is the greatest common factor? The greatest common factor is 3. So now what we're going to do, knowing that the GCF is 3, we're going to do step number 4, which is, if necessary, simplify. So what we're going to do is divide both 12 and 15 by 3. And so now we're going to do 12 divided by 3 equals 4, and 15 divided by 3 equals 5. So the answer is 4 to 5. Again, the answer is 4 over 5. Question number 4, we're going to solve 1 2 over 3 plus 1 2 over 4. So let's look at the steps to add mixed fractions. Step number 1, convert mixed fraction to improper fraction. Step number 2, find the LCM. Step number 3, use the knowledge of the LCM to make denominators the same. Step number 4, rewrite the bottom number in the converted fraction to the answer section. Step number 5, add the top numbers together. Step number 6, if necessary, convert back to mixed fraction and simplify. So let's first begin with step number 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert mixed fraction to improper fraction. So remember, the steps to convert mixed fractions to improper fraction are: step number 1, rewrite the bottom number in the fraction to the answer section. Step number 2, multiply the bottom number with the whole number. Step number 3, add the answer in step number 2 with the top number in the fraction. Step number 4, place the answer to the top part of the fraction in the answer section. So let's first begin with step number 1. So first we're going to move the denominators to the new fractions. So we're going to move over that 3, then we're going to move over that 4. Now we're going to start with the first fraction, and we're going to multiply the 3 by the 1, and then we're going to add the 2. 3 times 1 equals 3 plus 2, which equals 5. The top number for the new fraction is 5 over 3. Now for the second fraction, we're going to multiply 4 times 1. We're going to add the 2. So 4 times 1 equals 4. 4 plus 2 equals 6. So now we're going to move that 6 to the top part of the new fraction. So now we're going to do step number 2. Step number 2 is find the LCM. So we're going to find the LCM of 3 and 4. So remember, LCM is also known as the lowest common multiple. We need to determine the common multiples, so think the multiplication table. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the multiple of 3. So 3 times 1 equals 3, 3 times 2 equals 6, 3 times 3 equals 9, 3 times 4 equals 12. Again, people are like, how do you know when to stop? The best bet is to stop when you're multiplying the two denominators together, because they're always going to make a common multiple. And in this case, 3 and 4. Now we're going to find the multiple of 4. So the multiple of 4 is 4 times 1 equals 4, 4 times 2 equals 8, 4 times 3 equals 12. So now, what is the lowest common multiple? In this case, it is 12. So now let's go and we're going to use that knowledge of the LCM. So again, the LCM being 12 to make the denominators the same. So we're going to do 3 times 4. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. And so you're going to do 5 times 4. 3 times 4 equals 12. Now we're going to move that 12 to the converted fraction. 5 times 4 equals 20. So we're going to move that down over here. Now we're going to multiply the other fraction by 3. So 4 times 3 equals 12. So we're going to move that 12 over to the new converted fraction. And now we're going to do 6 times 3. 6 times 3 equals 18. So we're going to move that 18 to the top part of the new fraction. So now we're going to do step number 4. We're going to rewrite the bottom number in the converted fraction to the answer section. Now we're going to do step number 5. We're going to add the top numbers together. So let's draw a rough box. And in that rough box, we're going to add 20 plus 18. 20 plus 18 equals 38. So your answer is 38 over 12. Now we got to do step number 6. And step number 6 is, if necessary, convert back to mixed fraction and simplify. The steps to go from improper fraction to mixed fraction are: step number 1, write the bottom number in the fraction to the intersection. Step number 2, divide the top number. The number before the decimal is the whole number in the mixed fraction. Step number 3, the whole number determines how many times you'll subtract the bottom number from the top number. So let's go with step number 1. So we're just going to move that 12 over to the answer section in the new fraction. Now we're going to do step number 2. So we're going to draw a rough box, and in that rough box, we're going to write 38 divided by 12. 38 divided by 12 equals 3.16. So as stated, the number before the decimal is a whole number. So we're going to move that 3 down to the whole number in the answer section of the mixed fraction. And then now we're going to do step number 3, which the whole number determines how many times we'll subtract the bottom number, in this case 12, from the top number, and the top number is 38. And that will be 3 times we're going to subtract 12 from 38. So let's draw a rough box, and in that rough box, we're going to write 38 minus 12 minus 12 minus 12, which equals 2. So the top number is 2. So now we're still not done. We're going to reduce this fraction. So how you reduce this fraction is you find the GCF of 2 and 12. So let's find the GCF of 2. Remember, what times what equals 2. So 1 times 2 equals 2, and that's about it. So the factors are 1 and 2. The GCF of 12 are 1 times 12 equals 12, 2 times 6 equals 12. So the factors are, and 3 times 4 equals 12. So the factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So what are the common factors? The common factors are 1 and 2. Therefore, the GCF is 2. So now what we're going to do is we're going to divide 6 and 12 by 2. So 6 divided by 2 equals 1. 12 divided by 2 equals 6. And don't forget to move over that 3. The answer is 1 over 6. Here's the answer key. If you got an answer wrong, use a timestamp to go back and check your solution. Good job at taking ownership over your education. You did it! See you in the next video.